In the 2022 to 2023 financial year, India produced 160 lakh crore rupees in real GDP. Quantifying that much physical activity requires a specific framework. Economics studies how an individual or a single business allocates scarce resources. Macroeconomics zooms out to track those same variables across an entire nation. Every society, regardless of its size, must resolve three basic problems: what goods to produce, how to produce them, and for whom they are produced. A command economy relies on the state to answer those questions through centralized control. A market economy relies on private firms competing for profit. India operates as a mixed economy, blending private markets with state intervention. This structure is the basis for how every economic variable in the country is calculated. We divide this mixed economy into four distinct sectors: private, government, household, and external. There is a critical distinction in how these sectors are defined. An entrepreneur who starts a business is a human being. Consequently, they belong to the household sector, while the business they run belongs to the private sector. In this framework, capital refers strictly to physical machinery and infrastructure. It does not include money or intangible assets like patents. Looking at this factory, the total physical output is split into two distinct categories. Consumption goods, worth 700 rupees, are used immediately by households. Capital goods, worth 300 rupees, return to the private and government sectors as tools for future work. The percentage of its total output a nation dedicates to these capital goods today represents the primary investment in its future physical capacity. Over time, capital goods wear down. This is depreciation. Gross investment is the total capital produced, but net investment, which actually adds new capacity, is gross investment minus that depreciation. This diagram shows the circular flow. The household provides factor services to the enterprise. In return, the enterprise pays the household wages, rent, interest, and profit. These factor payments add up to the 100 rupee market price of the burger produced. In case 1, the household earns 100 rupees and spends it all on consumption. Because no resources were saved to create capital goods, the economy remains static. In case 2, the household consumes only 70 rupees and saves 30 in a bank. The bank routes that 30 rupees as credit back to the enterprise, allowing it to produce a 30 rupee capital good, like a new machine, which increases capacity. This proves that savings equals investment. India's current savings rate of roughly 28% provides the funding required to expand its future GDP. We calculate gross domestic product by adding up all expenditure: consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. To find true domestic investment, we look at the specific component of total investment minus imported capital goods. If a machine was built abroad, it is not part of India's domestic production. Since 2015, the National Statistical Office has shifted its methodology to calculate GDP at market prices to align with global IMF standards. This matrix shows how we arrive at these final figures. Gross value added at basic prices equals the GVA at factor cost, plus production taxes, minus production subsidies. We use three specific toggles to transform this data.
First, to move from gross to net, we subtract depreciation. Second, to move from domestic to national, we add the net factor income from abroad. Finally, to convert from factor cost to market prices, we adjust for net indirect taxes. Among these combinations, one identity stands alone: net national product at factor cost. This is the formal definition of national income. This split screen demonstrates the illusion of nominal GDP. If a country produces the same volume of wheat and rice, but market prices rise, nominal GDP spikes. It creates the appearance of growth while the actual quantity of goods remains unchanged. To find real GDP, we freeze prices at a specific base year, currently 2011 to 2012. This reveals the actual increase in physical production. The ratio between nominal and real GDP is the GDP deflator. It captures price changes across every good and service produced in the economy. Beyond total growth, we must measure how efficiently capital is used. We do this through I-CORE, the incremental capital output ratio. The relationship is fixed. The required investment percentage equals I-CORE multiplied by the target growth rate. If India's I-CORE is 5, achieving an 8% growth target requires a 40% investment rate. This efficiency determines potential GDP, the maximum output a nation can reach using its current resources without triggering inflation. Lowering I-Core is the only way for a nation to grow its potential without hitting that inflationary ceiling. On the global stage, a nominal exchange rate is the market trading value. Purchasing power parity, or PPP, strips away those market distortions to measure how many goods a currency can buy locally. To track the strength of the rupee against multiple partners, we use the nominal effective exchange rate, or NER. It compares the rupee against a weighted basket of currencies from our primary trading partners.
By adjusting that basket for inflation, both in India and abroad, we calculate REAR, the real effective exchange rate. A rising REAR indicates that domestic inflation is higher than our partners, which makes Indian exports more expensive. This signals a loss of trade competitiveness, even if the nominal currency value appears strong. While GDP tracks production, it does not measure social well-being. An economy can post high growth while suffering from rising inequality and environmental costs. This creates two different views of the Indian economy. Nominally, we are classified as a lower-middle income group, but we rank significantly higher when measured by our actual purchasing power parity. To track domestic prices, we use two baskets, the Consumer Price Index and the Wholesale Price Index. CPI tracks retail prices, focusing on food and services, serving as the Reserve Bank's primary inflation target. WPI tracks bulk wholesale goods, explicitly excluding services. Both are susceptible to the base effect. If prices were unusually low in the previous year, returning to normal prices today will mathematically appear as a massive percentage spike. These variables form a cohesive snapshot of the national economy. By tracking these metrics, we can see how a change in one area, like a spike in retail prices, ripples through the system, altering real growth calculations and redefining the circular flow that sustains the nation.